Real Madrid's trophyless season has left the fabled club in full meltdown mode, from teammates fighting to reports of unrest and supporters calling for the selling of stars and resignation of longtime president Florentino Pérez. The mess led Florentino Pérez to hold an unprecedented press conference where he ripped critics, defended his track record, and dared challengers to step forward to run against him for the role of Real Madrid president. Here's a look at some of the comments that Perez made at the start of the press conference, going on to say an absurd situation has been created that goes against the interests of Real Madrid and against me personally. You cannot win all the time. It has happened before, but people are taking advantage of the situation to attack me. He then went on to also say, "Where's Florentino?" they ask. "I do not usually speak publicly. They say I'm ill, that I have terminal cancer, but I want to make it clear that I'm still running a major company and Real Madrid. My health is perfect. Otherwise, it would be impossible to lead two institutions of this magnitude." We are live on YouTube right now, so leave your comments and questions in the comments section. But right now, let's bring in our CBS Sports La Liga correspondent, Guillem Balagué, into the conversation. Claudia Pagan here alongside Troy Deeney and Nigel Weir-Coker as we bring you all of this breaking news as everything is happening. But Guillem, please explain to me what we have just been watching for nearly the past hour.
Let me just start where it is at the moment, because it's still going on. He started doing the Donald Trump thing of pointing out who he wanted to hear from. I said, let's talk to him. Let's get the question from him. He's got a nice face, a face of a good person. And also, he added, I'm having a ball. I'm really enjoying myself. Now, this is Florentino Pérez as you normally get it in private. When you go for a coffee with him, when there is a meal, he will just be full of attack against anybody that criticizes Real Madrid. He will be full of defending of what he's done at the club, and he will give you names of those that hate Real Madrid and those that are trying to change the ownership model. All of that is what he will tell you privately. Publicly, he's very calm. But today, it's a completely different story. So what he wanted to say from the beginning is, number one, I'm not resigning. Number two, there will be elections. And number three, and this went on for a while, he started attacking journalists and certain media to say they don't want the best of Real Madrid. And they actually have started creating this idea that I'm ill. Behind this, there are interests, hidden interests of people that want to take charge of Real Madrid via the journalists. And he had this argument with one of the journalists who, the journalist didn't have a microphone, still shouted. And Florentino shouted back. And that was it. He was asked about the coaches and players that may come or go. I'm not here for that, he said. But he did mention one thing related to the fight between Valverde and Tchouaméni. He says, that's bad. But you know what's worse? The leaks. The people actually have told the world what has happened. And before, every single year there is a fight. But these things come out because there is hidden interests against me and Real Madrid. And it was just going on and on and on about just this.
Yeah,
Guillem, just to shorten this, sorry, Claudia, just to shorten this whole situation we're witnessing right now, is this a Real Madrid president under pressure and trying to justify himself of why he is still president of the club and encouraging anyone to challenge him because he still believes he can take this club forward? Bear in mind, this has been 2 seasons with no trophy for a Real Madrid side that prides himself on winning and winning mentality.
I will tell you differently. He's not under pressure. There's going to be elections. He probably will be the only candidate, and he will remain for as long as he wants, because he's made the conditions so hard to be a president of Real Madrid that he's got it sorted. But this is a person with a lot of power, and I'm sure we all think of others that we know close to us, a lot of power, who's been challenged for different reasons. Perhaps there are hidden agendas. Others will use the results of the team to criticize the fact that actually he's not building, and it's only 2 or 3 people taking decisions at Real Madrid, a greater squad compared to the other ones in the past. It's somebody in power who's been challenged. And he's got a powerful platform to actually tell the world, you're all wrong. I'm telling you what you're all wrong. So he announces a press conference, and he doesn't do that generally. He did it in 2006 to say that he was leaving Real Madrid and came back 2 years later. He does talk to the media in Christmas when he actually invites all the media for a few drinks and whatever. There's a lot of off the record there where you hear him talking like this, like we just done today in a press conference. But it's not normal that he calls the whole world, look, we're talking about it. We spend an hour on something, just listening to him ramble about this idea that he's being challenged, and how can they challenge what I've done for Real Madrid? That's deep down what's happening.
Guillem, it's a crazy hour that we've just listened to, and I know you're much more experienced in this. I just wanted to, there's two parts to this, right? In terms of where he's talking about people making up stories about his health, I think he has every right to come out on the front foot and be offensive and say, no, they're all rumours, I'm putting that to bed. Totally understand that. But the other part to it, which he's alluded and is just kind of dismissed, is what's the project? What's the way that this football is actually going to happen? Because Barcelona have got a project and they're doing it and they're continuing to get better. Yes, he's talking about the amount of money spent on the squad and how much it's worth. But actually, what is the project? Why should anyone believe what he's saying from a football point of view?
Project is Florentino Pérez. Whatever he decides. By the way, they won the Champions League 6 times in the last 12.
Yep.
So it's a successful project. They've got a new stadium, amazing stadium in the middle of the town. They didn't have to sell it. They've got a training ground that they could sell for a lot of money, but it actually is one of the modern training grounds. And that may be a possibility to raise more money. He's trying to fight with basically PSG and Manchester City. He sees as their enemies because they bring money in a way that they don't think, just doping in football. That's what he calls it. There's all of that. But the project is not too bad. It's just going a little bit wrong in the last 2 years. And Jose Mourinho is going to come in and he may or may not get it right. But his attack is not towards the journalists, and he mentioned some of them, not towards the newspapers, not towards the media groups. Deep down, he feels there are people, perhaps powerful, maybe that's how powerful people talk to other powerful people, powerful people that he feels that want to take over Real Madrid. Not that easy now, and he knows that. But it's a good opportunity to actually say, I am Real Madrid, and those of you that believe what I say, which is most of the people at Real Madrid, I'm saying these are the enemies, this is what we're fighting against. Oh, by the way, he mentioned Negreira, the Negreira case again. And he says he's going to present to UEFA a report of 200 pages with a lot of details in what he says is the biggest corruption in the history of the game. So looking for enemies, reinforcing your own world, and yeah, putting out there that there is people, really, really bad people, he called them, that want the worst for Real Madrid and him.
Guillem, we know it's still early and trying to respond and digest everything we just had to listen to and what the president is saying. How is it going to be seen in Spain? How is this really going to come across in Spain in La Liga with what people are just witnessing now with the president of Real Madrid?
The problem, Nigel, is that people are in trenches. So because you get messages from Florentino Pérez on your phone when you need them, there will be the pro-Florentino group. And because perhaps others have been led by hidden forces, they will be against Florentino, and you don't really know who to trust anymore. So you're going to have to look for independent voices that don't owe anything to the president of Real Madrid and can talk openly to hear what the real reaction will be. But generally, I think I was looking at the press conference through a YouTube channel that has got famous people in it, and they were like, they could not believe what they were hearing. It was like, this is a bit strange. Florentino's 79 and he's very, very fit. He had a personal tragedy when his wife passed away, and that really affected him. But he's come out fighting right now against anybody that wants to be on the other side. And he's asking those that want to fight to show their faces, because he wants to kill them. He wants to eradicate them. He wants the Real Madrid world to be Florentino Pérez land and nothing else. And this is part of it. So when he was asked about the elections, how is it going to work? And he goes, I don't know. Maybe in 15 days, we're just going to announce it. So there was not even a preparation that he would take for a shareholding meeting of ACS, the big company with 100,000 people that he runs. So he was just an angry man that wanted to come out at a time when everybody's having a go at Real Madrid and say, here we are, we're still standing tall. Bizarre, very bizarre.
Yeah, Guillem, it seems like a lot of this is just for Perez to come out and defend himself. And based off the comments that we're getting right now on YouTube, it seems like the people who weren't convinced about Florentino Pérez staying are even less convinced about him staying after everything that they've heard from him from the last hour. But if you are a head coach, a manager who's in the running right now to take that position at Real Madrid, and you see this press conference, what's going through your head? Because, of course, like especially a guy like Jose Mourinho, he's being linked to this job right now. What is he thinking?
If you're a manager that wants methodology and order and the authority of the manager to be respected, you run a mile. If you're Jose Mourinho, he's going to bring more fire to the fire. Oh, my God. Whoa.
Perfect.
This is the beginning of the Jose Mourinho era. It's like, all right, I've got a president that wants to fight with me because what Jose Mourinho is going to do is what he always does everywhere else, which is us against the world. And sometimes you think like, it's Real Madrid, the most powerful club in the world, or one of them. What are you saying, that everybody's against you? It doesn't make sense, but it does if you got Florentino and you got Jose Mourinho telling you that. And they're going to repeat it. The referees are against us. The authorities are against us. And they're trying to get an advantage by presenting this idea to the world.
Just on that, Guillem, two guys trying to create war. How long before they start going at each other?
They understand each other very well.
Okay.
It wasn't a conflict between them that made Jose Mourinho go. It's just that Jose Mourinho ran out of matches to put more fires everywhere. That's it. I mean, everybody went against Mourinho, and Real Madrid that year, the crisis was inside the changing room. Not so much with Florentino. Florentino felt, okay, time to move on and we'll get something else. So, no, they're just going to feet of each other.
One thing I want to ask the two of you is one thing Florentino Pérez was saying was, okay, we're seeing this news about players fighting in the locker room. He's like, this has happened basically every single year that I've been here, 26 years. Is that something normal? Because the two of you have obviously been years and years in the locker room.
Again, fights, the terminology of fighting needs to be understood.
Yeah.
There's fisticuffs, there's pushing and shoving. There's maybe every now and again someone gets hit and then 20 people jump in and it stops.
Yes, fights happen in the dressing room.
They do, but
they happen all the time.
But the terminology of a fight isn't a 3-minute fight of two people going at each other locked in a dressing room and the winner comes out. It's scuffles because everyone's trying to push
Scuffles, punches,
to try to
thrown.
be at the best level that they can be. So when they talk about fights, I just want to clarify that it's more of a 10-second thing,
No, it's
15-second thing at best.
I understand what you're saying. It's different for different clubs, but there are some clubs where it can be very physical.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what we grew up in, it stays in the dressing room. I think right now, with Real Madrid and the bad season that they've had, no trophy, losing La Liga, all this tension is building up in the dressing room. It has to come out to add more fuel to the fire, which is probably why we're seeing the president defend himself now, because of everything that's continued to roll on like a snowball effect throughout the entirety of the season. You talk about the Mbappé situation, where people are now starting to question whether Mbappé was needed at Real Madrid. Is he the problem? Is he not? With his training routine.
Someone with
There's
nearly
so many
60
things.
goals can't be the problem.
Well, the question is, that's the crazy thing, to ask Guillem that.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that's being focused on also, Guillem, in the sense of the Mbappé situation and how the season has gone on since he's been at the club?
Yeah, but Florentino Pérez, the one who takes decisions, thinks he's not the problem. And I think in this case, he is right. It's quite clear that Mbappé has not understood what Real Madrid is about and has not understood how a winning team gets created. He's got to work harder. Well, he's going to get somebody will feel that's bigger than him, will make Mbappé smaller, will put him in his place, if you like, and will tell him, you have to do better. Whatever way he tells him, it'll be interesting to see how Mbappé reacts, because, again, this is not the kind of superstar that Mourinho may have dealt with 10 years ago. And this is somebody that has not won the league for 11 years in Mourinho. So let's see how he creates the culture that is required, but especially how he puts Mbappé in his place. But he's going to come with so much authority and with a president that's on fire and fighting that it's going to be their way. It's Jose Mourinho and Florentino Pérez in charge of this club now.
Really quickly, Guillem, you just said Mbappé has struggled to understand what Real Madrid is. What is that for the people? Because, again, he would argue, I've got all of the goals, I've got all the statistics, what more do you want from me? So what is that thing that he's missing?
It happened with Cristiano Ronaldo a little bit at the end. They feel they're bigger than Real Madrid. They may be right. I'm not judging that. But when you go to Real Madrid, you have to put your head down. You have to do what is required to be admired and loved by the fans, and that tends to be a lot of work. And if you score, even better.
Yeah.
But there's been players of quality that have not given everything. No, that's not what they want. So there's an adjustment to be made there.
Guillem, immediately, some of the first words that Florentino Pérez said is, I'm not leaving, I'm not stepping down, and also asking that if anyone wants to challenge him, specifically what he said was, those who want to come out and stand against me, they can. I'm also going to stand to defend the rights of our members. If somebody does want to stand, let them stand, but don't move in the shadows. I've asked the electoral board to begin the process of calling elections in which the current board will stand again, and he has run unopposed in the 5 straight elections. So, Guillem, one question that we do have someone from the chat live right now is, realistically, who can challenge Florentino Pérez in the elections?
Nobody.
Is that worrying?
Is it a winning club? Has he built a big stadium? Has he been called the best president in history? Is he probably the best president in history? Is he challenging without the need of states to put money into Real Madrid? Yes. So he's doing very well. That's why when you are in that position of power and in that pedestal, and everybody knows and recognizes what you're doing, what is he doing going to the mud and fighting with little ass? It just doesn't make any sense.